What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Mechabuzz. I'm your host, Gray Torp, joined alongside my very good friend, Vibu. Vibu, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Dude,
Another podcast, another episode. Let's do it, man.
dude, I'm sorry. Before we start, I promised Dachshund that I would show him Appa. So Appa's gonna
Okay,
make
yeah, no, do
his
it. I want to see
debut.
Alpha.
Appa, say hello to everybody. This boy just pooped on our floor, and he peed in the piano room. So he's right now in the doghouse, per se.
Oh no,
He's a little cutie. You guys can tell.
he is.
Yeah.
He's so cute. Every time I see him, he runs to me and starts licking my feet.
And starts peeing on you because he's so excited.
Yeah. He actually didn't do it last time, so that's good. But he's so cute, dude.
Dude, he's the best and the absolute worst. So Dachshund, big shout out to you. Thank you for always being here, and it's great to have a lot of familiar faces here. A lot has happened in the last week, Vibu, and maybe a lot has happened and not a lot has happened. But before we jump into that, I want to ask, like, how's the last week of gaming going? I know, like, I've been trying to catch as much as I can. It's been a little bit crazy over here, and I had to kind of reshuffle and reprioritize my work stuff. So it's been, I literally have not been able to get many games in, but
Oh no.
I've been living vicariously through you and Mag One. So
Nice.
how have games been for you?
Honestly, so fun. This week has been a total turnaround for me. Now that I've been really messing around a lot with different forms of crawlers.
Hmm.
Really inspired by the last episode we did with the podcast, where it's like, look, have you seen Subterranean Blitz? Like, let's talk about this. And it just inspired me to really like I already was feeling like I wanted to switch. I was at that point where I was also like getting really tired of loose formation, but really trying so many builds with crawlers and just like super crawler focused stuff. It's been so fun. So many different strategies I've been playing.
I feel like it makes it feel like when you're playing aggro, there's just this endless swarm of crawlers,
Hmm.
and because of how like the visuals are, you can't actually see how many are coming,
Yeah.
and it makes it that so much more imposing. Where it's like,
Yeah.
as the defender, this is how I feel as the defender. I have no clue sometimes how to analyze the board because
Yeah.
Subterranean Blitz is so hard to see what's going on. Like, how many crawlers, how much do I have to make? Like, how many more chaff clear units do I have to make? Do I have to make more crawlers instead? Or,
Yeah.
it's just so confusing to me all the time.
It's scary. Like they get crazy because they start hitting these crazy breakpoints that you might not be used to, where it's not just like, oh, how many hits does it take to kill them? But it's like, how fast do they move as well?
Yeah.
So like, how much time do you even have to shoot at them?
One of the things that, and sorry if I'm helping your opponents, but one of the things that I've found that's very useful is actually making, especially if you're playing defense, making an entire front line. And I know that sounds very contradictory because, like, oh, they're going to move in. What you're trying to do is really disjoint your chaff clear, Vibu's chaff clear, from his crawlers. And so if those
Yeah.
initial units can stay put, and then the back crawlers can come forward, and then your, like, let's say it's your tarantulas or your arclights, they have to walk forward after that. Then all of a sudden your subterranean crawlers are blitzing a little bit too fast. And so making like a row of some sort of, it could be tanks, it could be just your own crawlers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I find a lot of times helps with just separating the subterranean bullshit.
No, it's so good though. It's so fun, and there's a ton of ways I feel like I've been trying to do it too and explore it. So it feels like there's so much room for me to just, try so many different things with it too.
Dude, I've seen you doing really cool stuff with like Mech Rage as well. And just
Yeah.
like, it looks like you're zerging them down. It looks
That's
like,
exactly what I'm doing. That's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm like, this is so fun.
I remember watching a game. They had Vulcans, mass Vulcans, so 4
Yeah.
Vulcans across, and also mass Arclights. And you had a ton of crawlers left over without the rebirth thing, the resurrection, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is this possible? Yeah, there should be no crawlers left alive at all. And you just bulldoze them down. It was pretty sick.
No, it was like I was surprised by that game too because I remember it, and I was just like watching. It was also like well-timed paralyzes because they're so fast that they just go from like the line to the tower
Hmm.
at such a speed that was like, holy shit, they're like bullets flying at it or something like that. Like it was just crazy because there was like 5 Vulcans that were just all getting swarmed down by crawlers. And yeah, they were looking every direction trying to kill them, but they were killing them so slowly through a paralyze that they all just got like devoured basically.
Dude,
And I want it every game.
you I see you really pushing the thresholds and really forcing the line right now.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I think you're helping me rediscover how good a proper aggro can be when you really blitz your opponents, when you go for those tower kills. I see sometimes like people are responding with getting crazy units, honestly. Like sometimes you'll see mountains and abysses, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, if you want to go that realm, I'm just going to blitz you down, take a tower, and then all of a sudden my medium units can actually do something. Whereas normally, standard play, you're just like, I need to scale up. I need, laser dudes. I need something.
I feel like every single time I play a Mechabellum board, I just wait for that Pac-Man, like waka 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 waka. Like every one of my units is just gonna eat for free during a paralyze, and I'm like, yeah, let's just. When's that moment gonna happen? And send it right there.
Yeah, dude, it's been really cool to watch you in this past week. It's really cool to also see like that light bulb moment where you're like, oh wow, this can spiral into a lot of different things, and I feel like this last week, and I'm sure the next 2 weeks, it's gonna be like that. I can't wait to see how you mix in, because I know you're, for the most part, keeping it with like tanks. Your what are they called? Saber-tooths. I'm seeing a lot. I can't wait to see how like your Rhino incorporation comes into this.
I'll love I absolutely love them so much. I love them even more than before. They're the best unit in the game above the Crawler and the Fang.
They disjoint your opponent's like fire so much, and it enables the Crawlers to carry. I'm seeing like level 4, level 5 crawl. All right, I'm getting too far into this, dude. I just want to say I freaking love what you've been doing over there. It's been really cool.
Thank you, dude.
There's been a ton of really cool games that have happened in the past week. I know you're not one to really look into the pro scene all too much, Vibu. I really implore you to check out these last week's games on Mag1 Live, because
I definitely need to.
There were some really, really cool games. I want to showcase, we're not going to go through like heavy into it, but I should say overall that there is the 1-year anniversary. Mag1 Live has been doing some amazing coverage on so many different games, and they do it on sometimes private servers. Now, this was the basically the ladder series of their tournament. And it's just like what we did back in August, where they're going to draft captains. And this was basically the time to draft the captains. The captains are going to be rewarded at the end. But do you see something different here right now, Vibu, at the start of this game?
I mean, I actually like no buildings at all.
There's no buildings here. So it wasn't like this for every single game. But in this game, there were. And I thought, what a pleasant and wonderful way to consume the best of all worlds, right? We saw games with buildings and games without. Obviously, the buildings were in different locations like we normally see. But we also got to see what the meta would look like if we stripped away those buildings. And let me tell you, man, some of the games that we saw were really, really cool.
Okay.
And of course, you're going to hear me be a little bit biased here and there, but I really want to stress, like, it was so fun seeing like the freedom unlocked from a lot of these players. And I felt personally, subjectively, I know I'm on one end, that the games were a lot cooler. Really, really cool.
Dude, that's sick, dude. I fucking love that. I definitely should watch it.
I thought we saw, just to like put a cap on what we saw from the Mag1 Live, I thought we saw some very strong play. I think a lot of people were experimenting a lot.
That's exactly what I feel like I'm trying to do every day as well. So I respect that so much. That sounds really fun.
For the most part, though, what was sad is generally it was the people that experimented that were losing, right? So they were
That's how it goes, because they're like uncharted territory, so they don't know the outs and ends of everything,
definitely.
of whatever they're doing right now.
But it was cool to see, right? Like, I always do this one like test to myself whenever I go into a game. I will find where like I would deviate from my opponents, or not my opponents, but the people that I'm watching. And as soon as I see like a major deviation, I just assign like that person's going to lose, and then the other person's going to win, and then I actively root for the person that I think is going to win. And what I'm essentially looking for is to be proved wrong over and over and over again.
That's right. That's what I feel like is the best part about gaming, almost, when you have moments like that over and over.
And what it does is it like exposes your brain to like say, hey, my biases are stopping me from from understanding this game. I need to reopen this door of like, did wraiths do really well this game? Because right now in my brain, wraiths are garbage to build unless you're defending, or unless you're like brutally attacking, but I think it's more so on the defending side.
Sure.
And there are some games where wraiths popped up, and they popped up, I wouldn't say organically because we saw them from drops, but they did pop up, and I was like, oh, interesting, let me see how they use them here. And you got like a really nice versatility. These were tools I would have never used in my toolbox. It's definitely changed me. So it has broadened my horizon. But for the most part, I would say that, like, look at this. Look at this on screen right now, Vibu. We got crawlers killing a tower. When do you see that anymore?
That's my dreams. From memories.
Oh, that's true.
This game before.
I'm asking the wrong person. Without a doubt, I'm asking the wrong person. It's so funny.
No, dude, I see it all the time right now.
I know.
Dude, I'm dreaming about them every night.
If you guys are want to see what else top pros are doing right now, you can check that out. Mag1 Live is going to be hosting more of this same tournament this week. We have gone into the drafting phase. I believe all the players, I'm not going to spoil because I don't know if it's been released, but I do know who has been drafted for some of the teams. We have some powerhouse players, and it's nice because they kind of separated into their regions too, like people in the 501.
That's really cool. I think that's cool.
So it's a little bit nation war-y too at the same time.
That's how it should be too.
I like that a lot. So we're gonna have a lot of really cool matchups coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I believe it's gonna be 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Please check that out, guys. It's gonna be awesome. I mean, you know me, I'm a night owl, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to be able to tune in, but I make sure to watch the VODs just to keep up with all this stuff inside of Mechabellum. One of these days when, you know, the girls are self-sufficient or something, I don't know exactly, I'm going to make time and participate in one of these. I desperately want to. It's just weekends are always so difficult for me.
Yeah, I totally understand.
You should really participate in these if you get the chance to.
Yeah, I know I want to. I just feel like I have been really busy just with life in general. So I've been, and it's not even just like, oh yeah, like recently. I feel like since moving to Vegas, I've been busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, right now. I feel like I'm enjoying the break from like what I was doing with StarCraft 2, because I felt that like coming to Vegas made me feel like I was when I took a break from StarCraft. It made me feel happy. Well, I was like, oh, yeah, this is nice. I like relaxing. Back
in 2021, when you moved to Vegas, we were both single bachelors, just ready to seize the day and play video games all day.
Exactly.
And now we're both married men with blossoming families, you know?
Exactly, dude.
You got Gojo and Mal, and of course, Nadine. And I have my girls, my wife, Appa, unfortunately. No, just kidding. But yeah, life has changed dramatically for the better, and it's been really cool. I'm glad that you're busy. Obviously, it's one of the things both of us just have to commit to. And I'll tell you what, when you do it, I'm going to coordinate with Sue as well. Maybe we both can do it together, and we can both go in there and kind of prove our chops against some of the best in the world. You know.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like I'm playing in a realm right now where I'm just like in a theme park, and I know that like a lot of my ideas, if I did it in like that realm, they'd be like, "Pff, no, you can't do that. This just
Yeah.
shuts it down." And I'm like, hold up, let me theory craft around this for a second.
Yeah. It's definitely, look, I obviously lived in that realm for a little bit, and now that I'm out of it, right? Like last season, season 3, I was all about I wanted to be number 1 in the world so badly. And I was
Yeah.
like, just a hair. I was like, Sako, I wanted it. But now that I've stepped out of it, I find that Mechabellum is honestly a little bit more fun at times. Don't get me wrong, there is a fun of winning and like crushing people and frame data picking every single replay and trying to like, if I repositioned it here, just like one hex over. Okay, there is a beauty to that, but there's also a beauty to meming, right? Like just having like really cool meme builds that is like,
Yeah.
Mass Arclight is back, baby. You know,
Dude, I feel like I get the most inspired when I just get to be creative about it and just go through however I feel like I want to go through it. And I feel like I want to be able to be able to just like flow with the RNG that the game throws at you, because it's so honestly, some games are so crazy. You get some crazy combinations that you can just like roll with, and it changes everything. But I do think that I'm always overreaching greedy guy. I want to have like a 25,000 health commander so I can get my troops off the ground.
Every time we play 2v2 and we get the one where it's sandwiching, I forgot what it's called right now for the life of me, but you start with basically no, it's the other one where it's sandwiched from the top
Siege.
to the bottom. Siege.
The Siege. Yeah.
And we start with like 80,000 health. I'm just like,
yeah,
let's
dude.
go.
And I'm just like, I want to make anything work with like a fat HP bar. I always call us the two-headed ogre because we're just like massive.
Like, it's so funny in our 2v2s. I'll be doing something like, let's just say I go mass, I don't know, Phantom Ray or something.
Yeah.
If I look down to see what you're doing, you'll be doing something like, I have no, like mass, I don't even know. It could be literally anything. Mass Fangs. It could be mass multi-melter.
Game.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I remember one of the games you had a rhino that was dealing with each swipe like 120,000 damage. And I was just like, okay, it's just one of those games for Vibu. You know? He's
Dude,
gonna...
I definitely feel like I'm the guy that's like playing poker and I'm like all in on something and I'm hoping my card hits on like the final hit. And I'm just like, please, for the love of God, I got nothing until this hits. And then it does. And you're like, oh my God, my strategy is huge.
You're the man for that. We always got to have a wild card in there, you know? Keep them guessing. All right, Vibu, I know you don't also follow up with all the drama that happens in the world. You are apolitical. You are, let's keep it chill and everything. Your boy has gotten into, I'm about to step into a little bit of mud right now, but
Sure.
I've really put myself out there, especially yesterday. Okay. So I'm going to give you some backstory. And we talked about this a little bit last
here.
week. Whoop. The volume is on for that. So we talked about this a little bit last week. What I'm playing for you right now is the Mechabellum Engine Room Chat. This is hosted by Stony Mechabellum. He is an amazing content creator that has been putting out how-to guides, basically, or different playthroughs, different run-throughs of Mechabellum at a pretty high level. He is one of the top, 1%, 5%, something like that. I don't know exactly how percentages work right now in Mechabellum, but I know he is one of the best players, the cream of the crop, okay? He has basically unprecedented access to the lead developer, who is Bearlike. Bearlike has been he is the game creator of Mechabellum, and he's been working on this project since I believe it was like 2012. So this is his baby. He is the one that is responsible for us having this wonderful game. I really pushed to this Mechabellum Engine Room Chat last week because I was pushing for, hey, I think this is one of the times where we're really going to get answers. We are at in my opinion, an inflection point for
Agreed.
for the health of this game. And I was expecting a lot of answers from this. And I think it's fair for me to go through what those questions and answers were. But before we do that, I do want to say real quick, because not a lot of people know what my backstory is in Mechabellum, so I can explain it just for this in particular, so there isn't any like misconstruing of the communication that's being done here. I used to work for the publisher. You know this, Vibu. When I first came into it, this is the main reason why I didn't do any of the tournaments. And I still don't do tournaments right now, but that's for a different reason. But the main reason I didn't actively participate in any tournaments is because I was working for the publisher, and I didn't want to seem like there could be any form of misconduct. In poker, this is a very big issue. Operators being able to play in their own games. Although there might not be, or there may be systems where there could be foul play, people don't do it, so there is no incentive to create systems of foul play. So I kept with that same integrity of I didn't want to participate in anything to even show that there could be a modicum of a lack of integrity inside of Mechabellum. I stopped doing that about 3 months into the project. The main reason was because I wanted to do stuff with you, Vibe. Honestly, I wanted to start this podcast with you. I wanted to be more engaged with the community. I wanted to be on Reddit. I wanted to be on Discord. I just wanted to be in the community rather than all the way out being like, okay, how can I help out with this exact tweet? You know, how can I finagle this caption, whatever it might be. So everything that I say is not coming from anybody that works from the publisher. I know I've communicated with Bear Lake before as one of the workers at Dreamhaven, but I am like a freelance basically, or I was a freelance of one of the guys that were working there, Mr. Bitter, who's one of my very good friends. So I want to get that out of the way first. Okay, this opinion is coming as a community member, definitely not as anybody that works for Dreamhaven. Okay, so this engine room came out, and here's the thing. I wanted answers, selfishly, about what the heck is going on with these buildings. And I'm gonna take away, like, the developers have more information than us. They're always gonna have more information than us, right?
Yeah.
They can make better decisions, but what I see as someone that loves this game is, I'm gonna come out of here, it's just like a cascade of falling numbers at the macro level. Okay, so this is Rooster's Twitch stream over the course of the last 90 days. End of August is where I look for my inflection point. That is when the buildings came out, and I just see this curve downwards, right? Or this trend downwards. Right? We can see this. I'm looking at Woot. I'm looking at Mag 1, although Mag 1, I mean, they crush, but it's hard to tell right here. I can't do custom timelines. And you can see, God dang, Mag 1 crushed during this time. They did a lot of really good promotions. You're not going to be able to see it, but trust me, the trend line is down for that. For Mechabellum overall, you can see the trend line. Again, down and to the right. It's Dillo, down and to the right. Pansaman, down and to the right. And then we look at things like player base, right? Where is this? This is 1 week. I'm going to go 1 week, 1 year. So this is the free-to-play weekend, and you can see it's down and to the right.
Yeah.
I want to be careful with this because this is rather natural. It's normally like you'll have a peak when there's some sort of update or something new comes out, and then it trends downwards, right? But this is a pretty precipitous trend downwards, and we are talking about, where's the August? August is around here. So let's go 3 months to be fair. So August is around here, and then we're just, our concurrence is trending downwards. look, I'm not trying to be alarmist right now. It's still in an okay peak, but the fact of the matter is our numbers on the aggregate are going down, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I feel it.
Mechabellum has always pushed saying like the engagement and the retention is very good in this game, and I do believe that. Once people find, I'm going all over the place. Once people find this game and they connect with the right person, that person stays in this game, and it's because, I mean, you guys can kind of feel we have the minds for this. I think it's very natural for a lot of RTS people, a lot of auto battlers to come into Mechabellum and be like, wow, this is really fun, and I can see the depth of this game. Right? It gets like really, really crazy. So
it does. Yeah.
I'm sorry. With just that, with just the macro level view and looking at Twitch overall numbers, I don't have that off the top of my head or off the top of my Chrome tab, but just looking at that stuff, Twitch is actually increased. So I was looking if it was like a seasonal thing across Twitch where numbers are down, and it's not. Twitch numbers are up over the last 3 months. And I'm like, well, that is dissonance right here. That is very unharmonious. And I have to believe that buildings are to play for that. One of the other stats I should point out too, let me go to this, is the negative reviews, right? So of course people are going to have negative reviews with spikes. That's going to happen all the time. But this was not one of those times. So you can see negative reviews with spikes. Anytime you have volume, you're going to have volume both ways, right? Here's one of the times. And these are major updates I think that the community didn't agree with. We saw this with the unit drops when they initially came out, and they were way too oppressive, right? So unit drops came up. I told you about this before, and people have talked about this inside of the Mechabellum scene. The community hated unit drops, like absolutely hated it. When you have like 8 hackers popping down on the field all of a sudden, it really takes away the skill or the way people have developed their boards for the first X turns or N turns before those huge unit drops come out. It gets calibrated back and people are happy again. Okay, that's good. What we're seeing here in September is when the game drops. And this is what I would say is a healthy review mix, right? We have positive reviews and negative reviews. They're both going to spike, but you can see the positive reviews are hugely outweighing the negative. Here's another time. This is when the publisher came on board, right? That is Dreamhaven, Mike Morhaime and Amy Morheime's company. Again, you see an influx of positive reviews and negative reviews. What we have with the buildings is no spike in positive and only negative reviews. Okay, I'm not trying to cast FUD here. What I'm trying to do is look at the macro level insights, the macro level statistics, and then draw conclusions saying something is wrong. I don't know what everything is wrong, but something is wrong. And then now I'm going to correlate that wrongness with how I feel, which are subjective, and it's about buildings, right? There's a fundamental lack of just like, what is the right word? Go ahead, sorry.
I was saying mine would be creativity as a player.
Yeah, creativity. There's just like not a good balance with it, right? And we especially saw that when they first came out, right? When they first came out, it really didn't feel well, and the developers knew right away, and they corrected very, very quickly. We saw updates nonstop every single week. What are they going to change? How do they change it? How has the unit balance changed, etc. Sorry, the word is calibration. It was just the buildings felt very uncalibrated. That's what it was.
Makes sense.
And that's why I think we had a lot, predominantly of negative reviews.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Going over to now the Mechabellum Engine Room chat. So I was really looking forward to it. the main reason why I was looking forward to it was I thought we were going to get answers. I know this survey was done for the purpose of this Mechabellum engine room chat, and I thought we were going to get answers on like, hey, what do we think about from Bear Like's position? What do we think about the pros and cons of buildings? What is good about it? What are the core things that we like about it? What are the core things that we don't like about it? Let's ideate on what are the solutions. Don't get me wrong, they talked about it for 30 to 40 minutes, but this entire 30 to 40 minutes was, in my opinion, they weren't going into the micro of anything. They were talking a lot about how this data was collected, which fair, surveys are not great representations of the entire community. And honestly, they were very dismissive, or I shouldn't say they were. There were comments that were very dismissive. I want to renege on what I just said. Bear Like was not dismissive in a lot of his explanations. He was explaining a lot of very particular parts about data and how we have to be careful going into this. In doing so, though, I don't know if he realized he put himself up against the wall where he was constantly contradicting himself. Or contradicting himself against the data. So I'll bring up one major thing. He was saying that the lack of players online was because of the lack of promotion. To me, when I hear that, I hear that he's blaming the publisher as the reason why there aren't as many people online. And I just find that to be like skirting responsibility a lot. Mm. And he says that, and he also says, we didn't want to promote. And I don't know if this was him just carving back a little bit of the responsibility. We didn't want to promote the game at this current state, which kind of also tells us that he knows what the current state of buildings is and that it's not in a place that should be promoted. And when you have that type of messaging, to me, it can erode trust a lot of the times, because I just don't know how you're speaking to us. Like, I don't know in the way of like, are you being very, very data driven, or is this an emotional response from the survey that was given? The survey that was given was a mixed bag. You can see from this chart right here. I'll try to zoom in. So this chart right here, hopefully they have it up on stream for a good amount of time. But this was on a scale of 1 to 10. Basically, how much do you like the buildings? You can see it was scattered. What Stoney did in particular was he got rid of the ones, which was, he said, was the vocal majority. I'm sorry, not the vocal majority, the vocal negativity. And then he said, hey, look, it looks like a normal distribution. Not quite a normal. It's going to be more like uniform than normal, but I'm being pedantic here. You can argue that it's a normal distribution, but still. To me, like, we're missing the forest from the trees when we look at it like that. Let me get out of Zoom here. Hold on. How do I do this? Okay, why I say we're missing the forest from the trees is this is our big update from the community. We, as the community, are going to be the biggest supporters of this game. We're going to be the main people that market it. I understand that outside promotion is going to be important, but word of mouth is probably going to be, especially for indie games, it is going to be the number one way that you get your game across everything, right? Look at games like, what's the Bonk one that just came out? Megabonk. Wasn't that made by a single person?
Yeah. It's like blowing up like crazy.
Does that person have any promotional like capabilities at all? Of course.
Yeah,
of course not.
No.
Right? That person is not going to put $10 million into promotion. What is happening here is that we're seeing a lot of people spread the word through word of mouth, right? they're like, hey, it's a really easy way to communicate it. This is Vampire Survivors, but you're in third-person shooter. Really freaking cool, right?
Yeah.
Easy sell for a lot of people. Holy crap, let's go and do it. We are going to be the biggest supporters. And this, even though it's 97 people that we got, realize, I know some people are asking right now, why didn't you put it in the survey inside the game? This was not done by the developer. This was done by Stony and his, I guess, cohorts, or maybe it was just Stony. Stony went through a good amount of effort to build this out, to get it together, to present it. Like, I understand, like, you know, the world of AI definitely helps, but Stony goes out of his way to help out this community a lot. And I really want to make sure that we're not grouping everything together. And I really don't want to make sure that, like, negativity isn't being overly done on anybody. Like, shouldn't be a negative conversation. This needs to be a healthy conversation between all of us in the community. People are saying 97 responses is not enough. I just wholeheartedly disagree. You just have to understand how to categorize the data, right? So yes, absolutely. Is this going to be an accurate representation of the total population? No, it is not. This is not what the survey claims to be, though, right? There was nobody that came in here saying this survey of the respondents are going to reflect how the entire population sees it. But what you can do is take this survey and say, who are the type of people that are responding to this, and how do I adjust the results to know that it's skewed in a certain way? So I went on, I don't know if we're still on my screen. I went on and I made a pretty long message to all this. I said, look, like, you have to look at the fundamental bias that comes with this survey. And yes, it's rife with absolute bias, but the bias is actually a survivorship bias. Now I can do this. There's so many things that come here, and I have to be careful, but you can look at it as like a weight. Okay. Sorry, this is supposed to be a triangle. Look at it as a weight, and we have this thing here, and we're trying to find out, this center line is going to be the survey. And this is going to be positive, and this is negative. And what we're trying to ask is this survey supposed to be slanted positive or slanted negative? And there's a lot of reasons why it would be slanted negative, right? Negative people tend to communicate more than positive people.
Yeah, they do.
Number two would be stuff like Reddit, right? Reddit is seen pretty negatively. And then we list all the things. But one of the things that the major problem I have with this is that we are in the Reddit community, and from what I've seen so far in the Reddit community, it's been overwhelmingly pretty positive. Yes, you get a couple of shitters here and there, but Reddit on Mechabellum in particular has been very different than other places. And I think that's in part due to, we have great mods over on our Reddit. That's in part due to the cohorts that we play with are generally older, and ain't nobody got time for that shit. It's just been relatively nice. So I'll push back on number two, but number one can exist. But particularly because we're in an indie game, like, why I think there's a survivorship bias in particular is that the people that are on Reddit that have been very vocal, whether it's through Discord, anything else like that, they're long-term loyalists of the game. And Bearlike even says that the people that are still in the game have been in the game for a while, right? Like, the players that are playing right now have been in the game for a while. These are the type of people that we're surveying, I think, on the aggregate. Now, that could be a bad assumption, but I think that's pretty strong, to be honest. I see the same faces posting all the time in our subreddit. And it seems to me that there's like a very strong community inside of Reddit that mainly stays on Reddit. I'm sure they go on Discord and stuff, but like there's a pretty big Reddit population that really loves this game and will be with it thick and through. And that's why I thought the scale for this would be heavily positive, right? So we're going to have people that generally like the game. The negative people, they're not going to leave remarks inside of Reddit. They're not even going to be in the subreddit. Does that make sense to you? So like,
Yeah, 100%.
there's already a barrier to enter to be in the subreddit of Mechabellum, and that is you have to really love the game to go to the Reddit, to the actual subreddit. The people that don't like it, don't like the game, aren't going to go on there and then again start taking a survey. That is insane to me. And we saw this more with, I think it's like 13 minutes in. Let me see. Oh dear. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Where are you? Oh no, I have the timestamp, I swear. And I was like, oh, I'll remember that timestamp. Idiot Andre.
Oh no, you're good.
Where are you? I will kind of say it, but there was one question he had, Stony had, where it was this one right here. 97 responses. Look at how overwhelming the recommendations are. To me, these are people that love the game. So to skew this to say like, oh, respondents are going to be negative, you're out of your mind if you think that, right? Like, this graph says, I like the game. I want to share it with my friends. However, this is the scattered approval that I have for buildings. Okay?
Yeah.
Instead, what we got for answers was, let's disregard the ones and say, oh, it's a normal distribution and it centers around 5. So we're going to just hand wave this off. That's what it felt like. All right.
Yeah.
And I know there were times where I guess Bear Lake would go back and forth whether or not he was pro buildings or not. But at the end of the day, it was like, well, Bear Lakes are going to be a staple. Buildings are going to be a staple. And why I have so much dissonance with this, I said it in this. These are the 4 questions I asked to illuminate the problems that I had with buildings. Okay. So number 1 was buildings were stated to be a mechanism to increase retention. Bear Lake in this interview said that it did not work. So my question then is, were the byproducts of the change worth the retention adjustments? And also, this leads more towards like, hey, were buildings supposed to be foundational to you or not? Because this states something very different, right? This is a retention thing, whereas sometimes he would go off and say like, oh, no, this is going to be part of the game. We always had a plan, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, the answer is, if anybody saw what the retention numbers were afterwards and the product, the negative reviews afterwards, I would hope you would look at this and say, I'm not going to release buildings, right? It needs more testing. We need to calibrate it more. This was, in essence, an executional mistake. I'm not saying that buildings should be gone. I'm saying the way that they were processed out, it was a mistake, right? Number 2 was, with buildings have a scattered approval bias towards negative. Is this the type of results that we want for yearly updates? Generally, you get 1 or 2 big updates a year, right? This is with every game that we've seen. You don't want to change the balance so much that people don't know the game anymore, right? Yeah. Like it gets too much. Mm-hmm. So, do you want something this divisive to come out for one of our yearly updates? And I would say, obviously, no, you don't, right? Number 3 is if it's already agreed across the board that more time is needed to calibrate buildings, should building exist on the public server? It's a very reasonable question in my opinion, right? You're telling us that, hey, we recognize that buildings, there is some problem there, but they wouldn't actually identify what the problem with buildings were. There's some problem that exists with buildings. My answer would be like, are we just the test server for you right now? And we're hoping to scrape more people later on with more updates? Like that seems like in my opinion, a very inefficient way to gain more people and keep them there. You just teach people that it's okay to leave the entire scene and come back casually, which we want to just keep leveling people up in the community. And then the fourth thing is, how do we bridge that divide right now between the cohorts of people, and I don't know what that percentage of community is, but it's non-zero and it's not a small percentage, but how do we bridge that cohort of people to say like, hey, this is a nice middle ground where we can all come together and say like, okay, I hear you, here's what we're doing, or here's some data that will back like, I don't know, something that will make you guys feel better. I will say that Bear said very specifically, he insinuated there isn't really data that he can show to tell the cohorts of persons that buildings are okay. And I think it's because we fundamentally, from the community, like the people that love this game, know something is wrong. Not necessarily, but like everybody doesn't like buildings, but we can see this from the numbers. Sorry, I made a long spiel. Please, Vibu, come in. Like, do you think I'm like off base? Do you think I'm like crazy?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I feel it. A guy, Mr. Optimism, who I am myself, where I enjoy like trying to figure things out, and I think it's fun to experience new things. I think the general voice I heard a lot, especially like throughout the process of buildings being released to now, like to present day, it's been a lot of like, oh, I don't want to play that game anymore until buildings are gone. Like I've actually had people come into my stream and I thought it was a bit extreme. I was like, oh, that's too far a little bit. I wouldn't do that. But they're like, oh yeah, I'm not even gonna play that game anymore. I quit because buildings are not fun. And I'm like, that's not good, dude.
If it was only the player count, then his ideas work really well, right?
Yeah.
When you're telling me that, oh, numbers are down because of the publisher, right? It's like, okay, maybe that is true. Maybe. To me, I think Mag 1 is doing a great job. I think, Bitter, again, I don't really know what they're doing for the past like 4 or 5 months now, but I think they're doing a great job. They're trying. I know they're trying. But yeah. I know Dreamhaven is going through their own problems right now. They had some layoffs, and their games just haven't spiked the way they did it. And I'm sure it affects Mechabellum in some ways. But okay, that's life, right? That's
exactly.
The gaming industry. The game industry is just on a downturn right now in the aggregate. However, I'm trying to phrase this properly. We have seen viewership go down. We have seen ratings go down. We have seen unique streamers go down, right? We've seen hours broadcasted go down across the board, right? And I'm trying to find some systemic way to recalibrate it up like it's a seasonal thing. Is Mechabellum seasonal? I don't think so. Did some game come out that like is going to envelop some of the population? Maybe, but I don't think so for the most part. What I think we see here is people are not enjoying it on the aggregate a little bit less than what it was before. But before, if you look at that ramp up into August, let me see if I have those numbers right now for Mechabellum. Come on. Oh no, did I remove it? Okay, I'm just gonna take, no, I can't take Mag 1 because Mag 1 crushed too hard lately. Let's take Rooster because he's very, very consistent. I'm gonna take Rooster right now. All right, let me just make sure I can see. Oh, Sorry, guys. I just opened Komodo'd my OBS. So right here, let's do the whole year. Does that make sense? 365? Nope. It's very unintelligible. What you can see is Rooster is kind of on an uptick for a lot of this stuff, right? And then he kind of peaks here and he's going down. And this to me, let's see, August. Oh no, sorry. I thought it was in September that he went down, or that he kept going up. Right here, August 28th is when the patch came out. It looks like an inflection point to me, right? Rooster crushing. All of a sudden, it's going downhill. So it could be that we were in the positive trend line and we're going down. I'm focusing a lot on this, guys, because this is the only data we have. Bear Lake has a ton of data that we just don't have access to. He even said in this podcast, he has a complete dashboard on how people are playing. And I have no like pony in this to like defend the publisher or anything like that. But I'm just calling out where I see cognitive dissonance. And for this, I see that, dude, like it cannot just be promotions that is affecting the downward trend of this game. It just can't be. It's buildings at the end of the day. There is a very clear inflection point here. Okay. That went on. And now I have to, I'm going to tackle two of the statements that came out afterwards. And it's by Stony. And I want to be very careful again. I really like Stony. Here's the backstory of a lot of us. I like Stony. I think that if I had to classify our relationship, I would say we are friends. And that's why I want to be very, very careful, because I want you guys to know that I have a vested interest in maintaining my friendship with Stony. But I have to be very critical of some of the things that he said here. Okay. So he said in response, let me get the other one actually. So there's two I want to go over right now. Okay. He said, I want to share my, let me see. No, I won't do the Zoom. I want to share my honest opinion. This is from Stony on the buildings. I've always been neutral about them since they don't significantly impact my enjoyment of the game. Sure, the center wall can be tricky at times, but I understand the building's intended purpose, which is to reduce round one unpredictability. I think it contributes to that while maintaining strategic diversity for later rounds. I've seen many posts on this topic, and I try to understand the arguments on both sides. That said, I don't believe the team is ignoring the issue. From what I've heard during the interview, they're actively exploring ways to improve without fundamentally changing the way some players enjoy the game. So far, these first two paragraphs are kind of nothing burgers to me, right? Like we're just setting a we haven't really shown any true thoughts yet, true opinions. That's what I meant to say. Mm-hmm. What I'm hopeful for is the iterative process, yada, yada, yada. Certain builds will become too formulaic. So I disagree with this. Certain builds become too formulaic and the game might have been solved more quickly without ongoing stat adjustments. The buildings go through several iterations before it feels right. I have no doubt we'll get there. For those of you that don't know, I finished second in the world for last season in Mechabellum. The last day, I was learning new stuff about Mechabellum. I am definitely at that time, I was one of the best players in the world, for sure. And I really did want to compete in Mag 1 because I'm not going to say I'm not second in the world, just in terms of the MMR rankings. I was constantly learning. You were the one that taught me a lot about how to properly use sabers, and you were the one that like really instructed on like, oh, this is how I can integrate it into my game. Yeah. Rooster and Red Scare right before the end taught me how to use not sabers, sledgehammers, and we found a lot of really cool gut shots. I was talking a lot with Wonderboat, and he was showing me different texts on how to use Abyss. Like, we were going crazy during that time. I think it was season 3. I was learning constantly, and I really don't think that this was the case. Even with, I think like a meta that had some broken elements to it, particularly the Titans were very broken. So I'm just going to push on that. Okay. Another point to consider is the Mechabellum is entering a more stable phase, new units arriving less frequently. To keep the game fresh, it needs mechanisms that offer variability without fundamentally changing the core experience. Similar to how classic StarCraft Brood War stayed fresh by introducing new maps instead of new units. All right, Vibu, I'm going to ask you, do you like this analogy or not? Or what do you think about this analogy, rather?
I feel like I honestly, I was just talking about maps like on my stream a few days ago, and I liked the idea of that as well. I honestly like the idea of making chaos for the game, but I don't know how much I like the idea of chaos being imposed where it is negatively being received, like consistently, I guess, like where we're talking about here. So I don't know. It's I can relate to it a little bit still. But
Yep. Oh, not Lost Temple Traders. StarCraft. Brood War. Let's go down memory lane, Vibu. Do you remember this map? I mean, you had it in Warcraft 13.
Yeah, I do. No, I do remember it.
Okay, let me explain to you how I became, in my opinion, one of the, not in my opinion, and it was the rankings. There was a long time ago. There was a ladder called WCG.
Yeah.
WCG Tour. Okay, and you would have to go to the Europe servers, and you would have to. It was like you would post text, you would whisper a bot. You would have to go through all this nonsense.
100%.
Okay?
I know. Yeah.
But it was like its own rating system. Okay. And this was one of the maps where I was incredible. Okay. For those of you that don't know StarCraft, it's okay. But let me just explain a little bit. Okay. See, these are the starting positions right here. Let me do a little zoomerino. So we got starting positions, the red, the blue, up here the purple, and the teal. Okay. Every single one of these bases has an expansion that you absolutely need. But take a look at this thing. This is an island, okay? And it's an island high ground. So if you put ranged units on top, it would be able to fire onto the expansion of your opponents. I had a very abusive build that I would go drop ships. I would get 2 siege tanks, and I would just get mass vultures. I would fly around with siege tanks, drop here, boom, 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 kill expansions, right? And then let's say we were like cross spawn, so right, and they went to expand here. I could run vultures, like smaller units, all the way over here, threaten expansions. I can come around, drop units right here. It was amazing. And Terran, in particular, that is the humans of this, had a hugely winning rate, a win ratio on this map in particular, okay? Zerg and Protoss was a little bit better because they had ways of dealing with all of this nonsense, particularly Reavers, drops, shuttles, etc. But Zerg was just left in the dust a lot of the times. Muted micro didn't exist back then, etc. Okay, this is why I say this. Do you know what people did when I wanted to go to Lost Temple?
Just all in you give up.
No, it was a lot more simple. They would just say, "No, bitch, I'm not going to play on this map."
Yeah.
That's what they would do.
Yeah.
So relating, I understand Stoney wants to relate things back to things that we can understand. It is not at all like maps. I get to choose which map that I want to go to, and I get to choose what is, in my opinion, like what the fair place to play is, where my style and their style can kind of be progressed the most. And we are forced into this style, right? We're forced into this map. And this is where I'm drawing very, very huge parallels to now StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2, there were some god-awful maps on ladder. And you know what the number one most frequented complaint was in the StarCraft 2 subreddit. It was how bad the maps are, and Blizzard, you need to get your SHIT together because this is like unplayable. Everybody's having a really terrible experience. If we do want to relate it back to maps, this is what it is. You're forcing us with this building situation when a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people feel like their play style, their I don't know, their way of expressing themselves can't be done in this game. A lot of times, I have talked about buildings, not in the form of, oh, it's overpowered and it's really bad for the end game. I've talked about how it feels, right? Buildings feel bad. That is, for me, I should say, buildings feel bad for me. Someone that has played this game at a very high level and also played it at, a casual level with, honestly, with you, Vibu, like our 2v2s, we just have fun, right?
Yeah.
And they feel bad no matter which one I play. I have heavily looked into trying to understand it, and I've had a pretty good amount of success. You know, I'm not like super high level like I was before, but like I've hit 2100. I think that's very, very reasonable, especially for this kind of depressed type of MMR system. I'll tell you something that really triggered me though, and I don't know if Stoney meant to do this or not, but one of the things he said that he kind of like, he was reductive with, I think, what a lot of people are saying, and this made me feel like even further and further away from if Stoney and the developers know what, I guess, my cohorts are thinking. He said the goal was to help new players start smoother and reduce early round randomness. For veterans, the frustration often comes from, I mastered the game and now I have to relearn it. And that feeling is where the frustration comes from. I cannot, like, when I read this, I got super triggered. And I know Stoney is in a very unfavorable position to be like in this in between. He has to both play nice, and honestly, he sounds a little bit like a shill for the developers, but then he has to maintain his communications with the developers. I'm sorry, that's the same side. He has to maintain his communication with the developers. He has unprecedented access, but also he makes all of these community like videos and stuff. So he's straddling this line, trying to play nice with everybody. And I'm just trying to call a spade, right? Like, to me, a lot of what Stoney represented in this Reddit form was very bad. It didn't feel good. It felt very disingenuous. I'll tell you what else felt really disingenuous. Let me see if I can find it. You can really tell when Stoney was using ChatGPT, because where is it? Of this shit? Oh, I said it anyway. Like, nobody does the double hyphen, right? So that sucked. You know, like, I'm being PR'd right now and I'm looking for an honest conversation, and you are giving me like, hey, give me, say all this stuff in a nice way, right? And then copy pasted. So it's like, part of this is like, well, is this actually how you feel? Like, I don't actually know. I wanna be careful, right? Like, I really, really like Stoney, and I respect his opinions. I respect his work. He's put in a tremendous amount of work for, like, I know, graphics, for his just his mind overall. I know he's a marketing expert up in Canada. But some of these things are just like, hey man, like, we are such a small community. I'm just trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't feel good right now. Like, it continuously doesn't feel good. Anyway, I'm sorry. I know I'm like bulldozing a lot of this conversation, Vibu, but
No, I mean, I'm honestly like learning about it, so I'm just kind of taking it in as well. And it sucks because like you're trying to, we're trying to like get our points across as well to the development side of everything, and buildings are clearly not going well. So
that I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Like all I'm trying to do is trying to be heard. Like, does anybody hear what we're saying? And every time that they have a chance to let us know we're being heard, they don't target anything, or they say things that are so reductive that I don't know whether or not they are hearing us or understand the problems that we're facing. Like, do you on the aggregate feel like you're having less fun in this game? And even if it's 10% or 20%, you have to recognize that's an important number, because the people, I don't know how many people are right now. I only have the chat open, which, yes, Winbig, you are amazing. Thank you, buddy. Basilio is honestly one of the major reasons why Mechabellum, in my opinion, exists on the map. He does amazing broadcasts, and they're super they're super professional. Like
the quantity of how many as well, dude, is like
it's
so
incredible.
It's consistent. It's like it's just a new program for people.
You have no clue what he's done behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
Like, he's had to go through so much more, including fights with me. So like it's a lot that we haven't really fought. But anyway, all of this is to say, like, I would just love a monicum of them understanding and hearing us. And I've never yet been able to understand, or not understand, been able to see whether or not they even hear us and they can identify the same problem as we can. Or if they can identify, like, hey, this is our feelings. We are the ones that are going to go out there and evangelize your game. And if we feel bad about it, that percentage is going to go down. So let's say, everybody here, 100, 200 people that are watching. Look, you're here on a Friday night. What are you doing with your life? You care about Mechabellum, right? Like, these are the only people that are here. We're going to be the ones that are evangelizing. I bought my friend Mechabellum. I bought 2 of my brothers Mechabellum. We are the ones that are going to be evangelizing everybody to be part of this community. And if we're feeling bad, and we're very clearly communicating that, I don't understand why it's so hard for us to just get just a modicum of, I understand, and here's some of the things that we're doing to come together. Not even change. I'm not saying you have to change things drastically. Just say, here's how we come together. And instead of, let's just say it's 20% of the population that are not happy with, it's more than that. Statistically, it has to be more than that. But 20% of the population, I'm gonna have that to 10%. It's like, hey guys, it's not so bad. Don't worry. Here's the way you should think about it. Here's some reframing that you should do with the buildings, yada, yada, yada. That's all I'm looking for. And I don't think that the Mechabellum engine room chat accomplished that. Of course, I'm just like a random nerd in the ethos of the Mechabellum community. They're not catering to me. But this is such a very clear talking point, and I don't mean to be the face of that community, that vocal community, but I'm happy to step forward and say, hey, like, I don't feel heard. My community, the people that I represent inside of my community, does not feel heard. And there is a precedent of this happening in the past, and hopefully something can change. But there are a lot of people that are not hopeful that anything will change in terms of the way we communicate. I hope that we can communicate in different ways, because I'm not coming at you guys as you guys are bad and we are good. I am completely open to me being absolutely wrong. But then explain to me the numbers a little bit. Explain to me like why we're in this weird phase where I feel like the game is starting to circle. And I don't want that to happen. We all have that same trajectory, or we want that same trajectory of this game to spike up. We want
Yeah.
10,000 people playing a day, not
Yeah.
2,500, not 2,000, whatever.
Just to say something that echoes everything we're talking about here, what you've described is, I feel like a new player experience, feeling like you can do anything you want, and then having a board go all over the place, and then you just get destroyed, is probably not a fun experience, because spreading out is not allowed in building meta.
Yeah.
Like if you're like all over the place, you're just gonna have a horrible round.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's so hard to tell. Obviously, there's a language barrier with Bear-like. I don't know its defensiveness, or it does seem like he's thinking about what to say in real time, but he's equipped with a lot of numbers. But I don't want to go through it all of the times where I found him directly contradicting himself when he's talking about himself, whether it's like internal data against the community feelings, whether it's like refining before promoting, but then blaming on promotion, like long-term ideas versus short-term ideas, and thinking about long-term, but like I don't know, everything didn't feel connected, and it was hard to a lot of times like connect the dots, because he would say something at like 22 minutes and then another thing at 47 minutes, but the 47 minutes was in like a non sequitur from everything else. Like, Vibo, did you know they're creating two new units?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have 2 new units in the works that I think are mostly done and polished. But to me, I thought we weren't getting any more units. We're working on quality of life. We're working on player experience, right? And it's like, okay, well, I don't know what, and it's not my job to, but I don't know what like we're focused on. But you know, are we working on?
I feel like, if I had to guess,
Yeah.
I think buildings are, and their mindset is buildings are tweakable. Buildings are here to stay, but tweakable until it's like a petition goes out that's just otherwise overpowering that.
I'm fine with that too, but something needs to be done, right? Something needs to be done to address, to me, right? And I don't have all the data comprehensively. But the reason why, and I've talked about this ad nauseum in previous podcasts with you, buildings make it so that spells become a lot better.
They do.
Buildings make it so that you don't have a lot of choice in early games, and that lack of choice, although good for starting players, is bad once you start opening up and you start learning the game, because that lack of choice limits you, and limiting things. I'm not saying all choice is great. I'm not saying just go open kimono and play it like StarCraft and just put 20 units on the map, right? We do need restrictions at times, but that limited choice ends up where it's like, oh gosh, 83% of all the games that we saw in Mag 1 Live was asymmetric. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that variety are we seeing? Are people able to express themselves, or have you forced people to play asymmetrically, right? There's very clear win rates that are going up like crazy, right? We have tarantulas that just plummeted completely. Is that because they got over nerfed? Is that because of the buildings? I personally think that buildings make it so that you don't have to invest in chaff clear so much. Right?
You don't. You really don't.
That changes what's important for chaff clear, right? And that's why we're seeing arc lights pop up a lot more. And the lower and lower you go down, you won't see those units in standard. Of course, we've seen that before, but tarantulas got super nerfed. And then on top of that, they have fixed range, right? Once you get the range upgrade, they don't increase. Whereas at least with arc lights, they continuously get 5 for every upgrade. So we're seeing a lot of these structural adjustments, of course, from unit tiers and stuff. But overall, what you're seeing a lot of the times is that spells, because people are playing asymmetrically, spells all of a sudden have a lot more impact into games. You see this constantly on subreddits, right? Where it's like, hey, spells are ruining the game. That uptick has happened ever since September. If you look back in this subreddit, there are more people, newer people, that are like, spells are ruining this game, yada, yada, yada. I wish there was a spell list. I never understood what they were saying before. Now, especially, I'm like, oh my God, these spells are so over calibrated to a meta that doesn't exist anymore, right? Because people are playing asymmetric. You put units all in one area and think when you start like that in particular, it's likely that your highest level units are going to be there, right? If I have marksmen on the right side and they've been there for all 10 rounds, where are my highest level marksmen going to be? It's probably going to be on that side. Yeah. So now when I do an ion blast, what have I just done?
You better mobile beacon, bro.
You better mobile beacon. That's right.
Half your fucking army's dead.
All of a sudden, guys, you better pick up that mobile beacon with the drops because, round 9, round 8, you're going to need 2 mobile beacons to be able to adjust to that. But this is what I'm saying. Like, there's this uncalibrated nature of the spells now, right? Like, and that's what doesn't feel good. If you calibrate all that stuff, great. I'm happy. Like, yeah, let's tone down a lot of the spells in general. We've seen this recalibration for unit drops, right? Unit drops used to be so oppressive. Even in season 3, they were very oppressive. All of a sudden, you get 2 level 3 sledgehammers. I dropped 3 more level 2 sledgehammers. I linked them and I put HP on them. All of a sudden, I have units that can tank through war factories. Like they just absorb everything. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. How are people able to do something like that? You shouldn't be able. I shouldn't say shouldn't, but that is a major swing in one turn that just ends the game at that stage, and that is a very bad feeling for a lot of people. People want to feel like they have the chance to win games, not be cheesed out every single time at round 7, round 8, etc. They want to make sure that the stuff they worked for from rounds 1 to round 6 pay off later on, right? And we are seeing less and less of that. I'm not saying that it's all gone. You look at the Mag 1 games, you still have a lot of that, but you're seeing that less. That's the distribution of games. I know the data has to support that because the theory supports that, right? We have pushed towards that. So I don't know, like, I wish that they can convey that to me, that they know what the heck is going on, but thus far they haven't. And it sucks.
Yeah. I think it's just like they don't know what's going on fully and are trying to still figure it out. And I think the current state of what it is there's currently a lot of problems with this forced building meta that's just existing, and it's kind of breaking a lot of things in the game.
There are things that I like about the buildings, though. And it's important not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? I think, let's just go through this. Actually, Vibe, like, what are some of the things that you like about buildings? And then I'll go through some of mine.
I like that it's like, I for one thing, I like that I can sell them and make more money early and turn on upgrades faster. I can actually get a bonus there. I can like turbocharge like a range upgrade for round 2. Which allows me to really do like really carry builds really early. I have a lot of variety with things I can do there. Keeping them is fine too. I like that it changes the paralyzed timer. I like that I can actually set aggressive builds based off of when things get paralyzed, and buildings can actually, even just by being there, take time to exist to die, which all you need sometimes is like 3 seconds or 5 seconds, and you get there first. And then whoever gets paralyzed first just dominates the other side pretty hard quite often. But being able to just like adjust things like that, I feel like that's really what I base a lot of my builds around, is those kinds of things. And then I would say I'm definitely someone who forces aggression. Even I've just been addicted to aggression so much.
Of course.
And I try sometimes playing standard. I think the unit that gets me the most is like Void Eye openers. If I feel like actually committing to some voids, I will maybe more often play more standard there. But outside of that, I really don't like it. I just usually tend to like get rid of the buildings by selling them off just for boosting my aggression. And I will say this is something that's kind of nice. half of my, not half, but maybe like a good chunk of my games, people do tend to play defensive because of buildings, and I can paralyze them easier because I play so aggressive.
Yeah.
So that's also nice.
I've definitely seen that a lot. People like over-index on how good the buildings can be.
Yeah, they're like at the
defend.
wall. They're like so far back.
Yeah, totally. Look, I think that some buildings have opened up standard to being a potential a little bit more than a lot of bit more than before.
Yeah.
And I think standard players do need a little bit of help because they inherently have a disadvantage in a lot of different ways, particularly with spells. I really like that that people can't just be brain dead with their initial starting positions. I would see people just like place stuff that to me didn't make sense in season 2. I'm sorry, in season 3. And you know, they wouldn't get punished because like I just so happened to do something that wasn't different. Now it's like, oh, okay, I have a new not unique, but a new variation that I have to adjust to, right? I like that it forces people to play out of their elements at times. So some people overplay standard, and it's like, hey, no, you have to play this way in particular because the position calls for it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean people will do it, but I do like that. So it has opened up quite a bit. You know, it is kind of reinvigorated arc lights. You know, me and you love our arc lights. It's rechanged units that were pretty dead, like Raidens, like Mustangs, and given them new life. And I think that's a cool way to see play on those. But I think there are other calibration methods to do those same things. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say I feel like Raiden's got a big resurgence from Void Eyes being buffed. They're like, oh, I could just eat the Void Eyes. But yeah, no, I agree with you though, 100%. I think it's cool to see a lot of units that are getting some love, and you know, I feel like I am seeing a lot of people doing a lot of different builds right now, especially since I'm doing really weird builds myself.
Yeah. I think we will see, especially with aggressive sells. I have been seeing people aggressively sell a lot more. Not in my games, obviously, because I haven't been playing recently because of work. But I've been seeing in your games, and I've been watching other people on streams, aggressively selling a little bit more. And that's been cool. Like, you know, you get a little juicer in the beginning of the game. Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, there's still a lot to figure out. I'm not claiming that we know where buildings will go to and how it'll ultimately affect things. Go ahead, sorry.
I just think that people need to like to be able to like digest building meta in Mechabellum. There's like rules you have to learn for it to not suck balls. Like you just show up, if you don't know, you're gonna be like, oh, this just is bad. This is bad. Oh, I do this, and this becomes bad. There's so many problems you have to understand about what you're setting yourself up for, because the game over punishes you in so many ways if you don't know the pitfalls. So buildings just honestly are oppressive until you learn these things.
That's right. The range is a big problem, even at 135. Can you imagine being a new player coming into this? And you do your initial drops. You don't know what the heck you're doing, but you place everything down.
Yeah.
And you see like, okay, I have these sledgehammers going into a wall and a turret. I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden, half of your army dies.
I know. You're like, boom, boom. The touch is dead.
What happened?
So hard. Yeah, dude.
He had no units over there.
Very hard.
Right?
Yeah.
It involves you trying to understand a completely new system rather than if it's blank. Like, it's very easy to understand what's going to happen. Mechabellum fundamentally, in the learning curve of this game, has the hardest time with people being able to predict who's going to win when you press that end deployment, right? Like, even if I show you what all the pieces are and I click end deployment, it's like, who's going to win? I think people have no freaking clue who's going to win on the aggregate. It's because there's RNG involved, but it's hard. Mechabellum is a hard game to understand, especially when you're learning. What is the, the skill? What is the power spikes of a Wraith, for example? Wildly different if you have 8 gun, if you have range, whatever it might be, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then looking at rhinos. And then now all of a sudden that rhino has one tech, give it wreckage recycling. It's like, I don't know what's going to do this turn. It might carry all the way, or it might do literally nothing and just die to the first thing it sees. You have no clue. I have no clue. Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
Buildings don't add to that, right? Buildings make it more complicated. Buildings make it harder to understand what the heck is going on. And that's why I think overall we've seen a reduction in retention from buildings. I think people, the complexity is a little bit too much. Here is something that I will, if I was a developer and I'm an onboarding people, the first 10 levels, let's say combat power, I don't care, whatever it is, first 10 levels, make it one lane, just one lane, and then start with buildings, and then you can only play 7 different units, 8 different units. Level 2, oh, here you go, here is the hound. And then level 3, here's the I don't know, sledgehammer, right? And we slowly introduce units relative to their other units. So it's like, oh, you don't have a marksman anymore, but now you have this nice juicy unit of I don't know, a Raiden, let's say, or a Void Eye, right? And you have them replace those units, and that will allow people to kind of understand it, and you can keep buildings in, right? But for the later stage parts of, like, let's say if you're 1500 plus, you can downgrade those turrets and the walls quite considerably, knowing that, like, okay, people have learned the game, and now the predictability factor of the round ones goes up considerably based on player skill. We don't have to worry about it nearly as much, but still, like, incorporate it a little bit so there's no round 5 kills, right? Like, I also recognize you don't want people losing round 4, round 5 and just being swept because experience problems, whatever. I can talk about other calibration methods for days. All I'm saying is things don't make sense. The reason for buildings, it just doesn't make sense to me. And the words that we are being fed doesn't make sense, and it doesn't feel good. And my trust, when this continuously happens, is just being eroded to the point where I have to ask myself, like, what am I doing in this community trying to be a figure here, right? I'm not trying to necessarily make change, but I also, like, want to be a voice for a lot of people that have either DM'd me or messaged me on Mechabellum, whatever it might be, that basically reiterate the points that I'm saying. And I will take the fall, whatever. Like, if you want to punish me. All I'm saying is I want to make sure this group of people are heard, and that we are not shirking responsibility to the wrong places, right? Particularly like promotions, particularly to retention numbers. Like, to me, that doesn't sound reasonable, right? Let's claim responsibility and say, like, hey, this probably wasn't the best rollout. We accept it. I know Bearlike has said that it wasn't necessarily the best rollout for buildings, but now it's like, okay, let's not have sunk cost fallacy. How is it that we, as a community, are able to say, like, these are our problems with buildings for this group of people? Is it reasonable? Is there data to back that from the developers? And is it reasonable for an adjustment? And if it's not reasonable for adjustment, well, I guess for some of these people, this is not the game for them, right? But at least being heard, that's the big thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. And it's definitely a thing that's like, it's like the elephant in the room right now in the game overall.
Totally.
Like, I feel like it's like everyone is like, anytime this topic comes up, I feel like that's how people feel, is like, still exploring them, but I currently don't think it's made the game better.
Yeah, it's difficult for me.
Or
I didn't have a lot planned for. Well, I did have a lot planned. I canceled a lot of my stuff, Vibu, because I knew this was going to take up a lot of time. I know I dominated this. Sorry, I know this is normally
Oh, you're
back and
good.
forth, all that stuff.
I mean, no, it's. I mean, I've honestly been pretty disconnected. I've been in my bubble, so you're keeping me up to date in the world as well, and I appreciate it. And I also think that's like really important for us to feel heard too. And I do think that my mindset is not going to be the average person's mindset of like, I'm happy to investigate it, even if it takes a while to get through it. You know, because I'm having fun with the game regardless, and I've gotten past the point of needing to have Mechabellum convince me I like this game. Like I've been playing it full time for the last we're coming up on like a full year of full time of this game.
Yeah.
And like a month for me. And I've been loving it, and I've been having so much good, like just like a great time. I don't care about anything besides just like my creativity. And this game inspires it once you understand all these pitfalls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a big problem, obvious, or not problem, but everybody has fun with games in different ways, right? Some people want to see big mechs go boom boom. Some people want to explore and do like meme builds. Like I love doing meme builds currently, right? That is the way that I consume Mechabellum. Part of me though, and I know part of you also, likes to go into the let's try to be the best player in the world and just destroy everyone, right? Like I have for sure created a ton of rivals inside of Mechabellum. And not even by saying a word to them, it's just their play style. I'm just like, I hate you, and I'm not going to GG against you. Right? And I don't actually like hate the person. It's just like it's how we're competitive. It's how we're. Sometimes I like to be in that mode, and I just like to torch off hours and hours of my life to make sure that I'm the best, or to try to.
Yeah, I understand.
And
it's fun.
For what I really see is if you give this game infinite time, okay, it's very much like StarCraft Brood War. Look at the game. The people that still play it love the game. You give people infinite time, those casuals, regardless, will start upwardsly converting into good players, right? There's not many people that will stay 1,000 MMR over 50,000 games. It's just not going to happen. Excuse me. They know too much information. So when you have the top players or the people that consume the game in the most hours, which is a lot of my cohorts inside of my Discord group and a lot of people in the subreddit, what you end up getting is the approximation to where a lot of the population will converge towards. And if that cohort is expressing displeasure, then your viewers and your players and your community, it's very reasonable that they're going to converge to that displeasure. So I think it's worth investigation at the very, very least. And I thought we were going to get more answers, and I thought we were going to be a lot more candid. Instead, what I heard was, I'm going to be very, very honest with you. What I heard was, hey, we did this survey. This is just to, kind of brush the negative people away and say we actually did something. Let's talk about all the new things. Let's talk about the 2 new units. Let's talk about calibration for, units that aren't as good. Let's talk about the Typhoon that we've been hyping up the whole time. Let's talk about, what was the other thing that, math is might. Remember how we had that conversation in the subreddit last week where he was talking about the attack speed, the projectile speed of the Vulcan.
Yeah.
They went on about that, and that is like, guys, what we're literally staring at some bark right now when the whole forest there's smoke in the forest. Yeah. And we're like, man, I don't like how this bark looks right now.
It's definitely a different perspective. It's just having fun. He's having fun, honestly, and he's not really feeling like the buildings are an issue at the moment. He's like, I bypassed that a while ago.
Well, the frustration to me was there were no solutions offered or no solutions talked about. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my team knows direct stats about, it's a 60% increase in effectiveness for our for Vulcans against Fangs. It's like, I know your team isn't super huge. Like, what are we doing here? You know, why are we investing so much time into what Math is Might is talking about? Which, don't get me wrong, he has a ton of great ideas, but like again, the forest from the trees. We got to focus on like the big things, right? Like if you want to talk about like how to make the community happy, and where's the presets where I can set my camera angle to what I want it to be always, and I don't have to finagle it every single time. Where is the recommended formations, right? And it's put out by me, right? Like, why is all of that stuff taking so long? I get development is important and updates are important, but like this quality of life stuff is so important, where it's just like, okay, why am I having to click 70 million buttons just to start matchmaking? It's not actually that much, but just I have to go to the top left. Sorry, I have to go to the top left, and then I have to click all the way on the right to start matchmaking, and then I have to select ranked, and then I have to put 1v1. Do I want 2v2? Oh, 2v2. I have to click all these. Why can't I just remember all that stuff for me? Like, why is there such a barrier to enter just to play the game that I want to play, right? Have it be one click, all of a sudden I'm in matchmaking. That's like the beauty of League of Legends and Dota, right? You literally click a button, boom, you're in queue. We're good to go. Let's go.
No, I totally feel the simplicity is definitely like needed.
I digress. Anyway, I know this is overly negative. I need to reach out to Stony after this to make it. I don't want you guys hating on Stony. I need you guys recognizing that Stony is in a very difficult position where he has to straddle both fences and not piss off anybody. But at the same time, I don't have to, but I feel it's important that we call out when it's like, hey, sometimes when you communicate to us, it doesn't feel like it is, it doesn't feel good. And these are one of the times where, very, very few times, I think Stony is a huge proponent of our community. But this is one of the few times where I don't think that you were able to accurately represent our position, and it went even the other way. It was a little bit reductive to some extent. So I hope you guys aren't angry at Stony, because we're all human. We all make mistakes, communication errors, and he's just in this weird political quagmire that these situations are going to come. It's not an if it happens, it's when it happens. So I hope you guys don't take away from this that Stony is some sort of bad guy in any of this. He's not.
Yeah, he's just a guy who enjoys playing the game.
We're all looking to be at the same, pointing into the same direction, right? We're all looking at that North Star, hoping for the best. So
yeah.
Okay, Vibu, is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm sorry. Again.
I mean, we can decompress more of it. I feel like I share a lot of your sentiments. I feel optimistic about things myself, but I don't think that my mindset is the average player's mindset. And I do think that quality of life things for new players, and like talking about like onboarding players, like the one lane experience, like so many things could be done for a player to not be annoyed. And I feel like one of the worst feelings you have in a game when you play it for the first time and you don't know is when the game punishes you immediately, and then you go, this is annoying. Like, I'm not having fun.
Yeah. I think they fixed Titans really well, though, to be fair.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I like a lot of the direction at the same time of the game.
Like, there were so many good updates that happened in that August patch that I'm like, okay, they get it for balance, right?
Yeah.
Like, Titans was especially... I didn't think Titans was going to be fixed at all. And then all of a sudden, it got like... It was like the purest, most beautiful, elegant solution to making sure that Titans weren't abused. And now when we see them, yeah, they come back like here and there, but when they're used, they feel like, oh, these are really units, and like my opponent is being not like brain dead about it, right? They're not just putting out there like, oh, car go smash.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is the timing. This is the only way I can do it. My opponent's composition can't deal with this, and it has long-term value, right? Like, we're seeing Titans being used when people have 3,000, 4,000 health. That's really freaking cool. Cyan actually had a really cool game. He lost it, though. It was against... Who is it against? Oh, man. I want to say it was... I don't remember, but he had 4 mountains on the board.
Okay.
In Mag 1. Beautiful game. He ended up losing, but it's like, oh, this is the diversity that I like to see, right? Like, this is cool. Titans are great. I liked, like, you know, obviously Tarantula got scaled down a little bit. I think it might have been a little bit too much, but still, like, these are things that, like, we were seeing units just being too oppressive for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna wrap it up, Vibu.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think that I definitely hope that, you know, some positive things can come out of all this, just like over time as well, and the game just has some more like of an uptick of retention of and also growth again, because that's what we all want at the end of the day.
Same. I will still be a proponent of this game. I will. I might not actually push this game in its current state to my friends right now, but if I feel like it gets back into the healthy state where people can be retained inside the game, where I feel like, you know, I have a very specific type of person that I hang out with. I don't hang out with many people, but if I feel like it's in a good state, like, I'm happy to push it to all my friends and family. I actually already have for a lot of them. I hope that's not lost on the messaging that I've done here. And Vibo, I know you feel the same way. Like, I know you
100%.
push this game to a lot of StarCraft people.
Yeah, we're just hardcore gamers, dude. We just
Yep.
love gaming, and with the Mechabellum is something that is a great strategical theory crafty space where you can play against people. It's like a different form of chess. That's right. Literally, it's like a crazy form of chess in like a modern day and age with robots.
That's right. All right, dude. That's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Mechabuzz. We are going to be live next week yet again, if I don't get canceled, and we'll be forever mecha buzzing as long as this game will have us.
Yeah, and no canceled, by the way. I think you did a great presentation, and you hit a lot of points on the head. And I really feel like it's like a wake up call people need to hear as well if they want to not let the forest burn down. Like, it's true. Like, I feel it as a streamer. I have been feeling it for a while.
Yeah, hopefully so. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you next week. Bye.
Peace, guys.